So welcome back to another video. We have just stumbled across this sleeper. It's a Volvo 740 with a 2J and a giant turbo. Let's dive in and let's have a look at this build. So I think I had to start with the interior because everyone loves a Volvo interior. Look at the beautiful seats. They are amazing. I remember Volvos from back in the day. They were just built like tanks and they had these awesome, just over-engineered interiors. It's just a standard old, still got the heated seats, but then you have this. So the car runs, as I said in the intro, it's a 2J and it's running on a Maxi CCU. So the good thing with a Maxi CCU is obviously it connects to your phone, so you can see it as a full dash setup, so you can see RPM, you name it, you can put it on there to watch everything. Inside the car, it is pretty much as standard form as it could be. I've got to admit, it is super clean, the interior. The beautiful, I don't know what it's called, is it tweed interior, and it is in really, really good shape. Nothing to show because again, this is based for a sleeper. This is where the magic is. It's a 2J, the normal aspirated version from like a Lexus. Seems to be quite a common thing people are using because obviously they're cheaper than the VVT, say, super engines. They're cheaper, they're still strong, they still make a lot of power, and then he's used a dump truck like whole sit type turbo, big size turbo, and he's on custom, I think 970cc injectors, again Maxi CCU, individual coils, a giant billet, throttle body looks like a 100mm, kind of the same as the one that I run on the Corsa, fuel regulator. Obviously, he did say this is an afterthought because he normally runs it into a separate tank, but he ran down the back of the engine and he struggled to empty it, so he's changed it over. As you can see, external trigger wheel, but the car hasn't been dynoed. He road maps this. Looking at the size of the turbo, injector size, I'd probably say it's got to be 500-600 horsepower at least. And for the big, massive, heavy bus, and as you must agree, this is an awesome little sleeper. For a giant bus, it runs into, I think, mid the 11s, and they're slowly working it down, increasing boost as they go. To run a mid 11 is something that probably weighs, I'd like to say, 1,500-1,600 kilograms, if not more, in this tank. It's quite impressive. Now, gearbox wise, the gearbox is a E60, I think it's an E60 535 gearbox, which they say, you can get an adapter plate and bolt it up. It runs a MG prop shaft and I think the BMW or the Volvo rear diff. I can't remember which one he said, but obviously if you look at the rear, you can see it's still got like the little sleeper exhaust. You'd never ever know. I think sometimes when you see these old cars on the street, you kind of respond that it could be something under the bonnet. So the only thing that's been done to the chassis wise is a set of BC coilovers. Everything else in the chassis is absolutely bone stock. And let's be honest, if you're driving a Volvo tank, these chassis are probably as strong as they ever come. Because I can remember having a crash in one in it was a V70 T5, and we hit a car literally near enough head on, and we ended up driving ours back home because Volvos are well known for being such a solid build. Just put on slicks for the track today. These are off a front wheel drive drag car, the tyres, with slicks being very, very expensive. Purchased these off one of the front wheel drive racers, Richard Batty, who runs a front wheel drive Mitsubishi FTO. Two giant slicks to show you what the exhaust is like. Basically done exactly what I've done on my diesel. So underneath you have your regular size, probably 2.5 or 3 inch exit with a full performance exhaust, because if you look there, I think you can see around here, you can see the V-band set up. And then what you do is you just weld your little factory exhaust on so people would never ever see it coming out the back. Again, to keep it as sleeper looking as humanly possible. I love a good sleeper. So to talk about, obviously, a bit more into the engine specs. it's obviously on a cheap eBay inlet manifold, which has been welded up and reported, because the NA and the turbo versions are supposed to be slightly different, so that's been done. It's on a eBay exhaust manifold. Again, it works, it does the job, and what they're telling me is when they got here, because obviously it's on normal aspirated compression ratio, just added some extra ethanol into the fuel to try and be a bit more knock resistant. So they're literally just winging it to try and get it down, but this thing makes some, you know, some great power. It's like I say, to do an 11, mid 11s at probably 2 ton of weight. Very, very impressive. So I'll sign this video off.
Start line. Yeah. One of the most famous courses you know out there, keep an eye on this. Twin Engine Corsa, Adam Beard.
For me, when I always used to look back at the ultimate sleeper, it was always a Volvo with a giant engine and a giant turbo. That's why back in the day I purchased a V70 T5 as a tow vehicle, because I always thought it'd be cool, because no one suspects a Volvo, no one ever does. So to bump into this thing at Santa Pod drag racing, it is absolutely epic, and I'm looking forward to see this thing grow and get faster and faster as they wind the boost up on this giant turbo. So signing off, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see us all on the next video.